Good afternoon, YouTube. It's been a little while since I've joined you. I actually recorded a video several weeks ago at night on a little lunting walk around my neighborhood, but I didn't ever upload it. It was kind of long and a little bit depressing, so I just withheld that one. But I'm today just driving across town in Portland, Oregon, where I live, and I just crossed the Willamette River from the west side of the city back to the east side on my way home from a meeting I was at. And our city is presently completely enveloped in smoke. It's been really hot here, and sometimes when it gets really hot and really humid in Portland, we get like a smog cloud that settles on the city. But it's been really hot, but we haven't had smog warnings this summer yet. It usually happens maybe once a summer, but only when it gets real hot, like over 95 to up to triple-digit temperatures. And we haven't had those this year, but it is incredibly smoky, and you can see over my shoulder there, or if I show you out my windshield what you're looking at, there's a whole city beyond those convention center towers there, those glass towers, and you just can't see any of it, and it's covered in smoke. And our whole city is kind of like that right now. You can see the haze over my shoulder there under the bridge. There's tons of buildings back there on the other side of the river, and it just it's gross here right now. You can't see anything. So I guess it's smoke blowing down from the wildfires I think in British Columbia, and it's just a crazy amount of smoke, and it's completely covered our city right now. And today, my contribution to that smoke problem is in the form of a couple coins of Peter Stokeby's Bullseye Flake. It's a good blend. It's kind of one of those really accessible year-round, really inexpensive. You can buy it in a tin or buy it in bulk. Actually, I don't know if you can get Bullseye in a tin, but I get it in bulk either way. So at my local shop or on pipesandscigars.com or wherever, everybody's got it. It's not expensive. It's really good, really solid blend. And so I tend to have a lot of it in my cellar at any time because I'll order it. Last time I bought it, I bought pipesandscigars.com had a sale where they were selling like 8-ounce bags of it for $15, which is an incredible price. And I bought an 8-ounce bag of that and of luxury twist flake, and I just keep them in big jars in my cellar. And so they're kind of always there, good go-to blends. And so smoking some Bullseye Flake. This is I don't know if I've ever smoked this pipe on my channel before. This is it's a beautiful pipe. Savinelli 614 silver sterling band. It is a great pipe. I'm pretty sure the stem is a replacement because I bought it used on eBay. It's got really good, beautiful straight grain though. It smokes great for a lot of years. I've had this pipe for coming on 15 years. This was when I started smoking a pipe when I was 18, I bought, first pipe I bought was this big, like, dumb, like all walnut pipe, like this big church warden pipe, kind of this Gandalf looking thing where the bowl was carved out of a piece of walnut and the stem was this huge long, like 24-inch long piece of walnut that was where they had wetted it and then bent it, you know, after they drilled it out to make a big bent solid walnut stem all the way to the top. And I smoked it. It was the only pipe I had, and it was huge. And I ended up like sawing part of it off so I could fit it in the center console in my 4Runner that I used to drive. And I just smoked it so much that the bowl just like split in half eventually, because it was walnut and it just couldn't stand the heat for that long, and I abused it for sure. And so I realized that was not an adequate material or an adequately made pipe. And so this Savinelli 614 was the very first briar pipe that I ever bought. And I bought it on eBay. I got it for $30, which you would probably not ever get this pipe for $30 right now, unless somebody badly like misspelled all of the keywords in the title of the ad so that nobody else saw it. But got it for $30. I've been smoking it ever since. One thing I wanted to talk about in this, while I'm just cruising through some traffic, is this shape, the full bend pipe, or the oom-paul shape. It was really attractive to me when I decided to buy a briar pipe, and for some reason I had like a mistaken image in my mind that this shape was the kind of pipe that like a Sherlock Holmes smoked, and in my ignorance and my not thinking to just look up what kind of pipe Sherlock Holmes smoked, which on screen or in some people's view is a calabash, in other people's view, I know in some of the books, it's just a straight pipe. So mistaken either way, but I thought that's what it was. I had in my mind a calabash pipe, and I thought, oh yeah, this big pipe that bends really deeply and then comes back up, and I bought this pipe, and I just knew Savinelli was a good pipe maker. Kind of knew that, but it's a great pipe. Now, I was not very educated in pipe smoking, and when I was 18, which is when I started smoking a pipe, that was in 2002. So the online, I'm sure the online community for pipe smokers existed, but it was very much still in the state of forums and things like that, so you had to go online kind of knowing what you were looking for. YouTube, I don't even think existed in 2002. So the YouTube community wasn't there for me. You guys weren't there for me when I needed you. I didn't have anybody to teach me how to smoke a pipe. I grew up in a church where tobacco use was very frowned upon, so I was kind of doing it in secret for a long time, and I just didn't have anybody to mentor me in becoming a good pipe smoker. And so this pipe has withstood all of my abuses of doing things that I learned later are huge no-nos in smoking a pipe, and caring for your briar, removing the stem while it's hot, smoking it back to back to back, and just multiple bowls without letting it rest and cool, and keeping pipe cleaners run through it, and regular maintenance on them, and cleaning them, and choosing good tobaccos and tasting tobaccos. Like nobody was teaching me that stuff. I was learning it all just by smoking and going, this sucks, so I'm doing something wrong, and then trying to figure out what I was doing wrong until I got it right, until I could manage to keep a bowl lit, for a long time, and taste something good from the tobacco, and not have it be burning my mouth, and all that stuff was things that I learned by just trial and error. Doing stuff, having it not work, and doing something different until it worked. And this is the pipe I did that with. This is the pipe that I learned how to smoke a pipe on. And very often, when I get either in a couple Facebook groups that I'm in, or just friends of mine, because a lot of friends that I have relationships with have come into pipe smoking in the last several years, through me or through otherwise. And the question I often get is, this oom-paul shape seems to be a very attractive shape for a lot of people. So when a new pipe smoker is thinking about buying their first pipe, they love the bent pipe, they love the full bent pipe. For some reason, it's really striking. It's kind of like, and I'm not saying one of these is better than the other, but straight pipe, like bent pipes to me, seem like the cocktail, or like the Buffalo Trace, if you're getting into drinking bourbon, right? It's a good bourbon, right? It's not bad, it's good. It's a great bourbon, but it's really it's really sweet tasting. It's like one of the sweetest bourbon that I've ever had. So for a person who doesn't like the taste of whiskeys, they might like Buffalo Trace because it just tastes like that, right? And the full bent pipe has that pleasing appeal to people that is introductory to them. And so they come into it going, I like that aesthetic of this pipe, and they want one. And I find a lot of people looking for their first pipe that I talk to, that's what they want. They're like, I really want a bent pipe, and they don't have an interest in straight pipes. It tends to be something they don't like. Like it's just not aesthetically pleasing to them. And I was the same. And over time, like, straight pipes have become usually my preference of what I smoke, or only half or quarter bent pipes. But for some reason that is. So if I might consider straight pipes to be like the Lafroy quarter cask Scotch that just tastes like, which is a great Scotch, but when you drink it, you have to really know what you're looking for in order to appreciate it. Because if you just taste it not knowing, it just tastes like the favorite quote I heard from some commercial for a Scotch. I think it was a Lagavulin commercial, where a guy describes the taste of the Scotch as like pouring a campfire through a first aid kit. And Lafroy quarter cask is kind of like that. So if I might consider bent pipes to be the sort of Buffalo Trace, the really sweet bourbon, and straight pipes to be the Islay, really smoky, really peated Scotch. They're kind of like that. They're all good. One's not better than the other necessarily. They're just, something is more pleasing about one to people just coming in to the pastime of pipe smoking. And what I've learned over some time is there are where normally I would tell people, this is the only exception, is this shape of pipe. When I tell people, pick a pipe that is the shape that you like. So when it comes to shapes, I generally tell people, whatever you like, get it. Because you're not going to smoke something that you don't like, first of all. And most of it, I think, is subjective. It's personal preference for the most part. If you have an internal construction and an airway drilling that's done well, the shape is largely irrelevant. And I know there's arguments that would say otherwise, but if you're just getting into it, you're not really concerned with those depth of arguments. So I generally tell people, pick a pipe from a company that you know makes good pipes, and then pick a shape that you like. The only exception I make is with this shape. And the reason is, that there are some drawbacks, I think, to being a new pipe smoker. And especially if you've never smoked anything before. Like, when I came into pipe smoking, to the day, I've never smoked a cigarette. So I wasn't a smoker of any kind, of anything. And so pipe smoking was the first time that I was lighting something on fire in front of my face and drawing it into my mouth, or otherwise. And so it was completely new and foreign to me. One of the things I learned is, if you're not used to that, if you're like a cigarette smoker, it's probably not a problem for you. But is when you have a full bent pipe, the smoke is literally right under your face. So even when you're just sitting trying to, read a book or just sitting and staring at something, or if you're fishing, like this is my favorite pipe to fish with back when I used to have time to go fishing. The smoke is right under your face, so even when you're not drawing, the smoke that's rising out of your bowl is just coming up right into your nose and eyes. And if you're not familiar with that sensation and that presence of smoke there, it can be difficult. It make you cough or inhale some on accident when you didn't mean to, and it just makes it kind of challenging. So the only shape I tend to tell brand new pipe smokers to avoid, that's just a suggestion. I still tell them, like, if you're really set on it, just get one and figure it out. But I'd make a suggestion that I say avoid full bend pipes for your very first pipe until you become, proficient at pipe smoking, and comfortable with it. And that's really the reason why is you're going to end up with just a lot of smoke in your face, and it's kind of frustrating. And there are some good things about it that I like, though. It's a fantastic shape for just hanging on your lip. So if you're doing an activity or working on something and you need both your hands, man, it's hard to get a better shape that hangs with that you can clench with less effort than a full bend pipe. And so I can literally just like let this pipe hang. It barely needs both of my teeth to keep it retained in my mouth. It just sits there, and so it's really great for that. So if you are fishing or reading or working at your laptop or you're probably not eating with a pipe in your mouth, but whatever you are engaging in that you need your hands for, like, it's a good shape that allows you to do that and keep a pipe in your mouth with minimal effort. But another drawback to it is that they're kind of hard to light if you're not familiar with it, because when you have a half bend or a straight pipe, it's usually the bowl is kind of out in front of your face enough that you can see where you're putting your match really well without having to strain your eyes. And with a full bent pipe, you really have to, like, you're kind of crossing your eyes, like you have to look down right along the line of your nose to see where you're putting your flame. And even then, when you do, it looks a little intimidating because now there's a big flame like right underneath your nose. And so you're worried about, there's the feeling that you're going to burn yourself. So for me, I love this pipe. I'll never sell it. Even when I don't smoke it as much as I used to, it's just got a lot of value to me personally. And it's like the bike that I learned how to ride as a kid. It has that sort of nostalgia. Like, this had the training wheels on it for me until I learned how to balance and pedal and steer, and maneuver the world of pipe smoking. But with that said, I could have picked a much easier set of training wheels. I could have had a pipe that made it much easier for me than this pipe made it. And I learned how to do it just fine, but this certainly presented more obstacles than maybe was necessary. And so it's both a recommendation and a caution. The recommendation is, if you're an avid pipe smoker and you're growing your collection and you don't have a full bend pipe, get one. Put it on your list. Get yourself a full bend pipe. I love this Savinelli shape. It's great. There are other people that make them. Peterson makes some of their most famous pipes with that shape, and there are many others. Like, just try one out. Get one out. Try out a friend's. See how you like it. But consider adding one to your collection. They have a lot of use and they smoke really well, in my opinion. They're a little difficult to clean, and only if you get a machine-made turned one like from Savinelli or Peterson, you're probably not going to be able to pass a pipe cleaner through it. It's just the nature of that angle of drilling. There are some handmade, some artisan pipe makers that have good ways to do that, and where you can. Machine turned pipes are not usually one of them, so that presents some cleaning challenges. But I think it's a shape worth having if you don't have one. The caution is, if you're a new pipe smoker, still get one, but maybe don't make it your first pipe. And if you're really feeling drawn and compelled toward that full bent shape, just go for something a little less bent. Go for a half bent pipe, or a quarter bent pipe, something like, in sort of the Danish style, where they just have a little bend, and it's going to provide you with a really good balance of a pipe that clenches and hangs on your mouth really well, while getting the bowl and therefore the smoke a little bit further away from your face and a little bit more into your normal vision field, where you can see what's going on in the top of your bowl as you are lighting and tamping, and without having it right under your nose. And I think that if you're new to pipe smoking, that's something that will be beneficial for you. It's a little more challenging to learn on. But once you get it, go for it and enjoy it. So that's my thoughts for the day. Smoky Bullseye Flake, good, always accessible, inexpensive blend, easy to get in bulk. Try it out. You get a really cool smoke out of it because that Cavendish ball rolled right in the middle, so it's not super consistent flavor all the way through, so you kind of get the Virginias, and all of a sudden you get like a hit of the little Cavendish ball, unless you mix it up and rub it out really well. But I tend to just sort of fold mine like a coffee filter shape and then put them down in my pipe. And good blend, good shaped pipe. Recommend getting one, just not as your first pipe. And that's all I got today, now that you're on another 23-minute video from me. With that, grace, peace, and pipes.